The thing that worries me about the 49ers is them going up against the Vikings, say, fourth quarter divisional playoff, and it's like a touchdown, 6-point game. Who's gonna cover Jefferson? like you know, that's what I. Who's gonna cover Lamb if it's Dallas, right? So the 49ers have to establish themselves really quick and kind of shut down that piece of it because, you know, to me, they got to play Womack. Is that the rookie?
Yeah. Yeah.
To me, the ball much like Hufanga finds him in a good way. In a good way, he looks like he's a playmaker. For some reason, they're very hesitant on playing him. Lenore has been great, but Lenore hasn't gone up against like a quality number 2 or an A1 yet. I'm very interested to see how he goes up against Landry or the Saints wide receivers this week. So it'll be interesting to see. And then the following week, it's going to get much harder. I think based off how well they do against Miami, because to me, Miami kind of very similar offenses, obviously, but they've got the weapons that Dallas has. They have the weapons that the Vikings have. If they can hold their own against Miami, that will be a good confidence builder for them in the playoffs. And then the second point I wanted to ask you is
that's the one thing I want to say about, like, I've been kind of poo-pooing these last 3 games, but they're big confidence boosters. And going into Kansas City, losing to the Falcons was not the way to go into Kansas City. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you need some confidence boosters to go into the playoffs, and they've had some of those recently. That's good.
So the Atlanta game is the one game out of all of them I kind of forgive because to me
they were hurt.
It was just like the Chargers game. As a Charger fan, you're really going to be mad at the 49er loss. You had no offense, right? You were.
That's fair.
And it works both ways, right? You catch a team at the right time, and I don't. And you know what? The Patriots for 15 years played in a garbage division. No one was above 500. But they took care of business. They had an easy schedule, and I think, the 49ers need to replicate that just to get into the dance and then make the tweaks. My other question is that, there's a theme that Jimmy is different. Jimmy is statistically, he may not be different. I think you showed that. Very, very similar. But do you think, like the eyeball test, he looks a little bit different? He looks different. Not in a good way. In a good way. Right now, I think he does. And I think, to me, the biggest thing
does look like he's throwing with a little bit more zip than last. Even if the numbers are the same, it looks like he's throwing with a little bit more zip than last year. It does look like he's making better decisions than last year, forcing fewer passes into double coverage. But I just want to say it's only been 8 games, and I think the test for him is like, do it for 17, do it for the playoffs, stay healthy. Because we've even though I'm very down on Jimmy, to his credit, he's had very good stretches in his career. He's done similar things, and I would call this a stretch. 2 months, 8 games. Keep it going, Jimmy G.
Yeah,
keep it going.
No, I agree. Yeah. And if he wants to get paid, he's got to do it in the playoffs. Because if he can do it in the playoffs,
last year, weren't we talking about like, oh man, the Niners? They might just trade Jimmy for a first round. Like at this time last year, people were getting real greedy with their aspirations of what Jimmy was going to bring back. And then it all fell apart because of an injury or two. So curious.
The 49ers botched that one because had they done something, because I think they're going to kick themselves, because if you look at all the teams that passed on Jimmy, with the exception of maybe the Commanders, all of them, their coaches are either fired. They're not doing better than the 49ers. The replacement was actually better. Right? And it's very interesting to see, will those organizations make the same mistake twice?
Maybe they'll overcorrect. Maybe they're like, you know what? We were too skeptical of Jimmy. He played well. I'm going to give him a 5-year contract. And then someone's going to give him that 5-year contract. And then be like, all right, let's call up Jimmy and give him the playbook and be like, you know what? Jimmy hasn't called us back for 2 weeks. Have you seen Jimmy Garoppolo? No. Maybe
don't they ask Jimmy? Yeah.
He went dark. And in fact, he actually doesn't respond in the offseason like, oh, we should have known that. Yeah, I don't. Jimmy in a contract year? Jimmy when he's marketing himself as a real pro? Jimmy when he's got 5 years left on his deal?
Yeah, I can't argue with that. I can't argue with that. I find it, if I call it the Armstead way of doing contract, you play your best year and all of a sudden you're nowhere to be found, or you're just
not glamorous and it's not fun. 6 days of the week. And I think there are very few people that are really into that grind. But when you're trying to get the contract, you're always marking yourself as, I'm the ultimate pro. I love practice. I love meetings. It's like, no, you don't. Jerry Rice did. Tom Brady does. I don't know about you. And that's why, to me, Bill Belichick does not give out contracts. He's just like, okay, you want to get paid? The Cleveland Browns are welcome. They're right over there. And if when they spit you up and cut you, come on, right? That's how he does business. I'm just saying.
He does.
The Niners are very sentimental with their players. Like, oh, you're a true pro. You're a true pro. It's like, oh, how come he can't replicate his I don't know, man. I don't know.
It'll be very interesting to see where he goes, because I do think that the longer he plays well, you're going to hear more and more chirping. Are the 49ers going to bring him back? And they can't bring him back. They can't keep him back.
I don't think
they can't. Is he going to play for $15 million?
Unless they want to choose him over Nick Bosa.
Correct. Yes, that was that was the third thing. It's either Jimmy or Bosa. Pick which one you want, because you're not going to get both. This isn't Monopoly.
You can choose one Italian stallion, not two.
Correct.
Only one?
Correct.
I'm Italian, so I can say that.
Fair enough.
All right, Karan. Good to see you, man.
See you later.